5th canto, 25th verse, 11th, 25th chapter, 11th verse. Murtina puru kripaya bhavadra sattvam samsudham samshudam sarasat aidam vibhati tatra yalilam nikapati radhe navadyam adatum svajanam syadharaviya murtim. Different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Naha, unto us. Purakripaya, because of great mercy. Vabhara, exhibited. Sattvam, existence. Samshudham, completely transcendental. Sadasatidam, this material manifestation of cause and effect. Vibhati, shines. Tatra, in whom. Yet lilam, the pastimes of whom. Mrigapatihi, the master of all living beings, who is exactly like a lion, the master of all other animals. Adade, tat. Anavadyam, without material contamination. Adatum, to conquer. Svajanamanamsi, the minds of his devotees. Udaravirya, who is most liberal and powerful. The manifestation, translation by Srila Prabhupada. This manifestation of subtle and gross matter exists within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of causeless mercy toward his devotees, he exhibits various forms, which are all transcendental. The Supreme Lord is most liberal, and he possesses all mystic power. To conquer the minds of his devotees and give pleasure to their hearts, he appears in different incarnations and manifests many pastimes responsibly. This manifestation of subtle and gross matter exists within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of causeless mercy toward his devotees, he exhibits various forms, which are all transcendental. The Supreme Lord is most liberal, and he possesses all mystic power. To conquer the minds of his devotees and give pleasure to their hearts, he appears in different incarnations and manifests many pastimes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami has translated this verse as follows, quote, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. It is by his will that gross and subtle ingredients interact. He appears in various incarnations just to please the hearts of his devotees," unquote. For example, the Supreme Lord appeared in the transcendental incarnation of Lord Varaha, the boar, just to please his devotees by lifting the planet Earth from the Govardhan ocean. Translation again by Srila Prabhupada. This manifestation of subtle and gross matter exists within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of causeless mercy toward his devotees, he exhibits various forms, which are all transcendental. The Supreme Lord is most liberal, and he possesses all mystic power. To conquer the minds of his devotees and give pleasure to their hearts, he appears in different incarnations and manifests many pastimes. Into the material world, he is described as Natyo Daradara, as the perfect actor, the supreme dancer. That's described in the 8th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti's prayers. So he exhibits perfect childhood, perfect warriorship, perfect instruction. Everything he does is perfect. When he was a child, he exhibited great fear of his mother and father. Sometimes he cried real tears when he was being chastised by his parents as a child. When he entered the arena to wrestle with and ultimately kill Kamsa, he was seen very differently by different people. He was seen by his parents as their child. He was seen by the women present as Cupid personified. He was seen as the impious Vrishni kings as death, as death. He was seen by Kamsa as death. He was seen by the wrestlers as lightning or a thunderbolt, because he moved very fast. And he was seen in approximately 10 different ways by different people, many, many more by different people, according to their desires. They saw Krishna. And he acted exactly as they wanted to see him, because he was always perfect. It is said that Krishna is not only perfect, but he acts in a way that is simultaneously one and different. Sometimes it's very difficult to conceive that. The word achincha is used, inconceivably, inconceivable. Achincha Veda Veda Tapa, that he is one and different. Krishna was acting as Rama, as one of his incarnations from the Vishnu form. And in this way he pleased many people, especially of India, because he played the role of a perfect husband. He fought an entire kingdom just to save the chastity of his wife, Sita. Sometimes India is called the land of Ram, because Lord Ram is considered a great hero for that reason and for many other reasons. When he incarnated as Matsya to save the Vedas, he showed that the Vedas are very important. Instead of, as some scholars say, the Vedas were written by a great scholar, the Vedas are considered to be the absolute truth. There's precedent for things being written down in over 500 years ago in the story of the witness Gopal. When the younger Brahmin was upset with the older Brahmin for agreeing to give the sister of the younger Brahmin to his friend who had served him so nicely, he asked that all the villagers come and see that this promise was given. The older Brahmin said he had forgotten that he had promised to give the daughter to give his daughter to his assistant. So the young Brahmin made all of the residents witness it and sign a paper. And Prabhupada translates that was done so that everyone would see it in black and white. The words black and white were used. I don't know what the Sanskrit words were, but there's precedent for things being written. So the Vedas are also written. The Vedas are considered to be the absolute truth. Whenever devotees quote the Vedas, they're considered to be giving the absolute truth, or the truth that has been written down. Of course, it was originally spoken by Krishna, but it was later written down. And the Vedas and Vedic literature are considered perfect, without fault. When Prabhupada was speaking with scholars, sometimes he would say that I've written many, many books, and there are no mistakes. It's a very common thing for people to make errors, even great scholars to make mistakes. I had some experience when I was putting together a book that I wrote, and it seemed that the proofreading and editing was more grueling and tedious and difficult than writing the book. So it's and so many mistakes were there. It's very easy to make mistakes. To err is human is something that Prabhupada quoted. It's a famous quote by an English author. To err is human. to forgive is divine. That's the other part of that. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Krishna sometimes disguised himself. He disguised himself sometimes as Abhimanyu, the shadow, the incarnation of the shadow of Krishna. Abhimanyu has a, how have you seen the deity of Abhimanyu in Yavat? He's blackish color. And it said that he was sort of an ersatz husband of Radharani. And his mother, Jyotila, and his sister, Kutila, were always trying to protect Radharani from associating with Krishna, to stop him from cooking with Krishna, to stop her from secretly meeting with Krishna. Sometimes people wonder why they're even involved in this lila, or why they're even in Vrindavan, in that area of Vrindavan. One of the answers is that because they always tried to prevent the divine couple from meeting, their meetings were done in secret, and therefore they were more sweet. At one point, Jyotila became very frustrated and decided to lock Radharani in her room so that she could never escape and go to meet Krishna in secret. One of Radharani's girlfriends, Vishaka, became very disturbed by this, and she devised a plan to allow Radharani to cook for Krishna and to escape for Krishna. And her plan was to say that Radharani had been bitten by a snake. So she exclaimed that Radharani has been bitten by a snake, she's going to die. Jyotila became very upset to hear that her daughter-in-law was bitten by a snake, so she went to Garga, the daughter of Garga, Garga Muni, who was Gargi, and pleaded with her, please somehow or other help my daughter-in-law, Radharani, who has been bitten by a snake. And she said, I can't do anything, Gargi said, but I have a young sister who is visiting temporarily from Benares or wherever she was, and she knows how to cure snake bites. So finally, Jyotila visited, or was able to meet with the younger sister, Vidyavali was her name, of Gargi, the female snake doctor, and she noticed that she had a very darkish complexion. Actually, it was Krishna in disguise. He was disguised as Vidyavali, the female snake doctor. So Jyotila pleaded with her, said, please, you must go and cure my daughter-in-law, Radharani. She's been bitten by a snake. And she said, oh, I can't go there, I'm sorry, but it's very dangerous to walk through the fields of Vrindavan. I understand that there's a womanizer named Krishna who haunts those fields, and if anything happens to me, if he accosts me, my reputation will be ruined, so therefore I cannot go to Java. So Jyotila pleaded with her, please, please, you must go and save her life. Finally, after much pleading, Vidyavali agreed to go, the female snake doctor, to go to and try to cure Radharani. And she went with Jyotila back to the palace in Java, and told Jyotila, she said, Krishna said to her, she, thinking it was the female snake doctor, that I will cure her, but I have to do this in private. I will go into the room, but no one can watch. It has to be done in complete secrecy. So Krishna entered the room and locked the door from the inside. And at that time, he and Radharani had very wonderful pastimes, considered amorous pastimes, although they were in their very young age, pre-adolescent years, 10 years old. And then after some time, Jyotila became very impatient, and she began to knock on the door and ask what was happening. And Krishna, in the voice of a snake, hissed back, saying that, yes, I have bitten your daughter-in-law, Radharani, and she will die if she is not cured. So then Jyotila asked the snake voice, who was actually Krishna, through the door, what are you trying to do? Why didn't you just bite me instead? Why didn't you just bite me? He said, well, I wouldn't bite you because if I bit you, you would die. But if I bite your daughter-in-law and she dies, then you will be in anxiety and you will lament for the rest of your life. Therefore, I have not bitten you. And this snake supposedly was the snake of Lord Shiva, the cobra that you see surrounding Lord Shiva. So, and she said, well, I'll do anything if you can remove the poison from my daughter-in-law, Radharani. And he said, you've been very offensive. You've offended Radharani. So she said, in what ways have I offended Radharani? She said, you have spread rumors that she's having some illicit connection with Krishna, and you have deigned to lock her in a room and not cook for him and not to go to him, and you have to undo all these terrible things that you have done. So she said, please, I'll do anything. Please take the poison out. And he said, you've been very offensive to Krishna. Krishna is the Lord of Lord Shiva, who is my Lord, and therefore it is very important to me that you undo all the damage that you have done. So she said, yes, I will do anything. And then Krishna, in the voice of the snake, stopped hissing at her, and Krishna declared to Jyotila that Radharani has been cured. And he unlocked the door, and Radharani emerged looking very healthy and happy and cured. So Jyotila was very happy, and she said to the Krishna, disguised as the female snake charmer, the female snake doctor, oh, you have cured Radharani. So now Radharani, please give her all of your jewels and give that Yavali a big hug. So Krishna was playing that role. And Jyotila said, please, is there anything else I can do for you? And she said, the voice of Krishna said that yes, you can bless Radharani that she has to cook, that she must cook for Krishna every day, and she can leave anytime she wants to. And Radharani was very happy to hear this, that the Lord of her life had tricked her mother-in-law and other in-laws that were surrounding them to let her go and to be free to cook for Krishna. She was very happy. So that's one of the pastimes of the Lord of Javat. So if anyone has anything to say or any questions, please ask now. Nothing? Anything? You think?
No. I heard one time, a long time ago, Radharani was older than Krishna. You didn't hear that?
No, I never heard that. Does anyone else hear that?
There is one pastime Radharani was born with her eyes closed. And it wasn't until baby Krishna went to the ashram, and when he went and saw the baby Radharani, that's when she first opened her eyes. So that seems to indicate that they were quite similar in age.
Gopis in general. I think a lot of the gopis were older in the river.
Yogamaya, she ages all the 10-year-olds to become like teenagers, even Krishna.
I think
But Radharani is never older than Krishna.
Also, it's described that all these arrangements of relationships between Krishna and Radha were arranged by Purnamasi and kind of behind the scenes of all these pastimes. Yes?
There is actually a marriage of Radha and Krishna when they were only quite little. Because they're full mystic, transcendental beings, and for the sake of that pastime, they immediately manifested their full, what's that age called?
Adolescence? Or teenage or adulthood?
Yeah, the youthful forms. Lord Brahma came down and conducted the marriage ceremony and everything. And as soon as the ceremony was over, they returned back to that development age. So even though there's stages of development, they are full mystic, fully opulent beings. They can change as they wish. pastimes are discussed in Rajmanda Parakram.
Pardon?
A lot of this stuff is discussed in Rajmanda Parakram. These types of pastimes.
Rajmanda Parakram. Yeah, it's very interesting that the people of Vrindavan are often singing songs about Krishna. And even though they are understanding that Krishna is God and that the soul transmigrates from one body to another, sometimes the residents, the bungis and people like that, kill and eat pigs. I've actually seen myself. A live pig strapped on the back of a bicycle was ridden by one of the Rajavasis in Vrindavan. So it's very mysterious. One time I was asking a devotee, which is worse, to live in Vrindavan and to kill and eat pigs, or to live in some place like Harlem and to eat meat? And he said they're both bad. He was someone who lived in Vrindavan for many years. He said that both of them are equally bad. Whether you know about Krishna, you're offensive, or whether you don't know anything, you're offensive. So bad. Yes?
It's similar when Srila Prabhupada gives Srimad Bhagavatam class, when we listen to his classes, he's very direct in discussing that particular purport. Did you have much association with Prabhupada? Did you discuss Krishna pastimes and share over that?
When I was with Krishna, I never heard Krishna. I never heard Srila Prabhupada talk much about Krishna's pastimes. You're saying about in this particular verse?
I haven't really heard much of Srila Prabhupada talking Krishna Lila.
Most of the people that I know that talk about Krishna Lila are not Prabhupada. There are people like Dinabandhu and Mahanidi Swami, people who live in Vrindavan. And I think there are some of Krishna's somewhat confidential pastimes written in the Sandarbhas and various other places, but some things are not even written. It seems to be that they're just part of the lore of the people of Vrindavan and the surrounding areas. But they're not necessarily, at least in books that we've been given, that have been translated, we're not aware of things that have been written. So we have to venture off to faraway places and learn Sanskrit and Brijavasi to understand what was going on.
There is nice footage of Srila Prabhupada taking devotees on Parakram and Vrindavan. I think it's at Kaliagat, it's famous footage. Srila Prabhupada sees hands, but he can't hear the audio, but he's opening his eyes, is very animated.
So maybe Krishna was one of the first environmentalists because he purified the river of the toxins of Kali. Mahani used to take us on parikrams around the Raj area, and he knew a lot of the pastimes. So was Bhakti Chaitanya Swami and Dinabandhu and others.
Did you ever go on Rajmanda to the Parakram places?
Not with Srila Prabhupada. I was that unfortunate. It seems like others, like Swami, people who live in that area, are aware of many of the pastimes of Krishna and Raj. Good place to go. So I think we're going to end here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam.